Hey guys, we're live on the moon with a window to the other world. I'd like to welcome you to my video production of a moon voyage. I'm a newbie to astronomy, and I'm just trying to learn and get the right formula in a breezy evening on a Saturday, such that I can show you my experiences. I think the best approach to doing these kind of videos is to just be honest with you and let you see my foibles and my struggles to learn. And as time marches on, I'll get better at what I do. And I think that the production that I put forth will be better. What I'm trying to do right now, I did a sneak peek, and I'm going to go to where my mushroom forest is. Remember last night when I did this video, the mushroom forest was way down there. Way down there. Well, guess what? It has rotated again. And there you see on the top of the moon, let me go just a little bit further, what I called the mushroom forest. And I really think that this was the original one right here. There were two, and there was this thing sticking up. It's at a different angle now, but I think this was the original one. I think that the moon has since 3 a.m. tilted by 50 degrees. It was just about a little above west or left on this picture, and now it is a little to the right of north on this picture, between 45 and 50 degrees. Now, I'm not going to dwell on this very much tonight. I just want to bring to your attention, there you can see the stem on that mushroom. See the stem? Goes down, and there's a cap. There's a cap, there's a cap. I just wanted to bring to your attention that we have a situation here where our moon is tilting more than I think it should. But tonight I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm going to do a survey of the moon for your enjoyment and record whatever is up there. Today I did a little research. I had some astronomy detractors, professionals come in and say I was crazy as a hootie owl. Look at those. Don't they look like stems too, and like mushrooms? See them? 1, 2, 3, 4. I know that's not what they are, but I mean, it just kind of looks strange, guys. And that's what I'm looking for, strange things. They had some videos of the natural rotation of the moon, which it does, it rotates, it kind of wobbles itself. And if you look at it over a period of a month on those videos, it doesn't vary any much more than 10%. I mean, max, maybe 8. My variance is between 40 and 50%. Now that's not usual, that's abnormal, guys. I mean, it's abnormal. I don't care if you're an astronomer or not, a scientist. There's something wrong with the moon. Wake up and smell the roses. Something's not right. This is a full moon, and what shadow line there is shows more at the top than it does at the bottom, but it's not really very pronounced because we are, if I'm looking at that moon, it's a very, very bright moon, and it's a full moon. Some of you made a comment that I have an imagination. I do have an imagination. And I think when you're looking at the moon, you just about have to, because there's so many strange things up there. Some of you have wondered why I'm so fixated on the fallen angels and the alien bases, because I believe they're up there. I've believed that since I was a kid. One of the first encounters I had with I've had 3 UFO encounters. When I was a real small kid, riding in a car from Valencia to Evans City, in one of those buckboards in the back of one of those old cars, I remember clearly seeing a disc-shaped silver object land in a wheat field, hay field, and bend the wheat down and then take off again. Nobody else saw it. I did. It was real. My second encounter was in Evans City. We lived on a mountain. I used to go in the woods. Look at this stuff. This, by the way, this is not fixed. I think I have a fix for this problem. That looks like a cave hieroglyph, and see, it looks like a little, see the head and the foot and the wing tail. It's obviously a dragon. And that looks like a French horn sitting on its end. Anyhow, we used to have free reign of the woods and had a wonderful childhood. We sometimes were allowed to sleep out in a open field behind our houses off the hill. And I remember this one night, me and my friend were, just sleeping out. I used to have a telescope back in those days, a Tasco 60 power variable, which I saw the rings of Saturn, the Ring Nebula. I mean, isn't the color neat? Color's pretty neat. And I saw something move across the sky. Let's say that we're looking at the sky. We're laying down in our sleeping bags, and there's a moon on the far left. Matter of fact, we'll put it on the far left. There you go. The moon's on the far left. We watched this star move deliberately like this, slow, over a period of an hour, slow. We watched it, and it got to the moon, and it did a circle. It circled the moon one full time, and then came in on the backside of the moon and landed. Don't ask me what in the hell it was. It had to be a spaceship. So we saw a spaceship land on the moon. This was back before Telstar. We didn't have no astronauts or nothing. So I believed in UFOs. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I think that the color really comes out when it's a real bright moon. The subtlety of the color on the surface. So if there's an advantage to looking at the moon in a bright moon, I guess is to bring out this kind of color. But that wasn't the most dramatic UFO experience I had. My mother and I saw a UFO together. We were bringing home. We went down to Schopel's Market in Evans City, and we were, in grocery shopping, and I was helping Mom carry the groceries in. And in the front yard, we live on a hill, and I was up there on the steps going up to the porch, and Mom was down there by the car. And this UFO, it was a cigar-shaped UFO. A cigar-shaped UFO came up the valley, and we saw it. And then over the far hill, was a hill over there. We live kind of on a hill here, and then there's another hill over there, and there's a valley. And this cigar-shaped UFO came up the valley, and this fighter jet came up over the hill and then did a loop-de-loop and then chased this UFO back up the valley. It was incredible. And I saw it. I was probably 9. I don't know. I don't know how old I was. I was pretty young. And my mom saw it. So Mom believes in UFOs. I believe in UFOs. We were the only two in the family that believed in UFOs because we saw them. My brother never did. I don't know if my sister did or not, but I know my brother thinks I'm crazy. Absolutely crazy. Certifiable loony crazy. So when I look at these things on the moon, I know there's things up there. There's fallen angels, there's aliens, there's all kinds of life on that moon. And you're going to see things come out as we do these pans. Or you're going to see strange things that are inexplicable. And I'm going to bring them to your attention because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for inexplicable things to explain. I've been fighting a problem with this setup. Every once in a while I get the blue screen of death. Let me see if I can do something with this. Let me change the I'll turn the saturation a little bit down. Turn the contrast a little bit up. And the brightness a little bit down. And the gamma a little bit down. And the gain a little bit. See, this is the picture see, there's so many parameters here. You have maybe that's why people don't get into the video. It's very complicated. But I've been into video photography, and when I retired from Texaco in 1989, and I ended up our church had an immense library of tapes that were Bible studies from way back when, and I took that entire library and I converted it to video CDs and in some cases DVDs. So I had to buy a Mac, and I had to buy this like $3,000 card, to encode everything. Back then it was expensive, and so I've been involved in all this stuff for a long, long time, and I'm a perfectionist when it comes to all things video. So I'm really pleased with the quality of the images that I'm getting. The program, one of the things, Henning is really the guy that got me into this. Henning has he's a YouTuber. He has a channel called Countdown 2010, and he was doing screen captures with Cassandra, and I could never make that work on this computer. And I looked far and wide, and I found this free program that basically displays things on the screen. And then I got this debut software, and that captures it, and it'll either capture from the screen or it'll capture directly from the camera. I'm capturing it right now from the screen, and it does a fantastic job. And then you can save it in high def form on YouTube, and I think that's the only way to watch these kind of videos. Now look at this very carefully. This is familiar ground from another viewpoint. This is that mountain range. The shadow line was over that mountain range a number of days ago, and see that cut right there, that cut, and see these two craters right here, and you can't even hardly see it, but there is a row of statues at kind of a half moon that I kind of conjectured might be a druid training base for fallen angels to teach their wares on to the druids at Stonehenge. Half jokingly, of course, but there was some half truth to it, because I believe that that kind of thing could happen. Anyhow, there was a circle of statues, or it was just probably rocks, but it reminded me of Stonehenge. And this here was an immense mountain range. Now look at what it looks like from the air on a bright moon. It looks like kind of clouds, but if you look close, you can see the subtleties of the mountain range, and you can certainly see that line. That is a cut line, and I think it was caused by an explosion of a meteor. I don't think that's a pipe or anything like that. I think that's just a cut line from a crater, a meteor up there. Before we continue going around on the bottom, I want to just go up here, because it should be really unusually pretty. This area up here, it looks like a sea of crystal. And I jokingly said maybe they had underground cities there, and well, they might. I don't know what they have. I just know that I believe they're up there. I believe they have bases on there. I believe we have bases on there. You say, well, why do you believe that, Bill? Well, I've done some research, and I know in 1954, our President Eisenhower at the time met with the aliens at Holloman Air Force Base. He flew his Air Force One jet right into Holloman and nose up against his flying saucer. He got out by himself. He entered in the flying saucer by himself and stayed there for 40 minutes. Isn't this really neat? Look at those lines. They come out on full moons. Let me turn the saturation down just a bit. Not too much. I just want to bring out see, there's no color here, but there is color there. So there's subtlety in color. And let me turn the brightness. See, if I turn it up to how you can't see it, I turn it down just a little bit and it'll bring out the color. So Eisenhower met with these UFOs people, the aliens. And they were said to be wear the headgear like Egyptians and had Egyptian writing on their craft. This happened after Roswell. And I think that they signed a treaty with the aliens, reptilians, fallen angels, and we've been in cahoots with they traded us technology for, and we basically in the skunk works at Lockheed have been building spacecraft ever since, and we've flown to the moon, we've flown to Mars. I think there's bases on the Mars, there's bases on the moon. I believe all that stuff, and I just told you why, because I as a kid, I've seen spaceships land on the moon. I mean, well, let's just kind of go north here a little bit, because look at the color. Isn't that really pretty? I really think, guys, that this rotation of the moon is a serious matter. Look at that. Somebody wrote high on the moon. See that? H-I, high. Probably Illuminati. They got a sense of humor. Yeah, I think they're up there too. Now look at this. This is really, really bright. Really bright. That's got to be some kind of a power plant. You say, well, Bill, you got some pretty strange ideas. I guess I do. Yeah, yes. I don't think they're strange, but I mean, a lot of people would. Most Christians, you realize, I'm a Christian. Most Christians don't believe in UFOs. Well, I think they're all going to be surprised when the tribulation does start, which it will. Every verse in the Bible will be fulfilled. Every verse in Revelation is going to be fulfilled. There's going to be an Antichrist reign, and the Great Tribulation, which Jesus Christ himself told you about, is 3.5 years long, and it's going to start whenever the abomination of desolation goes up in the temple. That's when the Antichrist goes in the newly built temple in Jerusalem and declares himself to be basically God. That's why he's called the Antichrist. And I think Christians all over the world are going to embrace him as being the Christ. And they're going to line up like sheep before the slaughter to go into the UFOs to go to heaven. I think there's going to be UFOs flying all over the place during the tribulation. I think it's going to be part of the Antichrist agenda. You say, well, Bill, you're pretty strange. Yeah, probably. Teach his own. I can tell you something that's strange, and that is this moon. This is a really interesting thing to look at. Even on a bright full moon, it's interesting. I've said this before in my videos, and I mean, you go back and you look at this moon when it's in shadow, and every time you look at the moon, it's going to look different. So you're going to see me out here looking at the moon quite a bit. I wanted to mention one more thing. My friend Mike, whom you met several times, is getting a special lens. It's actually a special filter for our telescope, and I think it's a hydrogen filter. It's for the sun. It allows you to look at the CME, coronal mass discharge from the sun, and the prominence. He's got a sun filter too, which means you can look at sunspots. This is not for sunspots. This is to look at the CMEs coming from the sun. And what you do, you can see them, but then if you put it on like time exposure, then you can actually record them over a period of time. I'll be doing an awful lot of videos of the sun here coming up, and I'll be posting them on my Jive Up channel. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it yet, if I'm going to make them just part of the series numbers of my moon musings, or I somehow just integrate them into a series on the sun. I think that in the future, as we march into whatever is going to, let me go south from here, and then we're going to shut it down. I just want to get a sweep of the interior of the moon, and we'll stop at the bottom if everything works out. And I think that the CMEs are going to, in Revelation it says that a third of the grass is going to be burnt up on the earth. I mean, I think all this comes from CMEs, from solar flares. I'm going to stop there for just a second. You might not realize it. This is just absolutely a stunning picture. Look at the detail. You got these waves. That's the like an explosion, an impact explosion from a crater. And then only during a moon such as we have, you see these highlight these. Let me just see if I can bring that out. I'm going to adjust the gamma. Yeah, see if I turn the gamma down and turn the gain down, turn the saturation. No, I don't want to turn it up. Well, that brings them out better. See, you got these. I think some of them are like that. Looks like that's a crater. That's a crater. But I think a lot of these are not craters, and they're actually points of light on the surface. I don't know what they're used for, but I think they're points of light. I don't have all the answers, but I do have a curiosity and an imagination. And I think that I have a pretty good combination right now with this camera and this telescope. It's giving me some spectacular imagery. See, all these little things look like spider webs, and they're not natural, guys. I think every one of those is alien made. I think they're pipes. They're pipes. Those are clearly craters. See, they're round. But see these crooked lines, these weavy lines that are real long. I think these are pipes, tunnels, tubes that they use to get from where they're going to where they want to go. And if you look, they're all over the place up there. I think that these will come out when I go over the Odyssey photos with you. I think we're going to see that in a lot of those photos. It's kind of interesting the way, you know, when it is like this, it kind of looks like they're clouds, but they're not. And look at this, how it's just a strange. I can understand the straightness, but see how it gets crooked? It might be the ridge of a crater or something higher that's blocking the. Because I think that wave action comes right from that crater. Moon is a very, very strange place, and it's now if you have children, children are fascinated by the moon. If I could have done this as a kid, I mean, this would be the best, the bestest of the best. Now look at all the color here. I mean, I just went down. I haven't changed any adjustments or anything. And now take a look at that. Very, very, very bright. It's got to be a base. Nuclear power plant. Who knows? Interesting stuff, guys. Interesting stuff. And I guess that's as good a place to stop. We did a real good survey. Up. I got excited and I even moved the camera, but there was a UFO right there. Went chip, just like that. Matter of fact, let's just let it sit there. Maybe we'll see it again. It's my intent to when I do these things is to kind of see the high right there. High, there it is again. Is to do surveys of the moon and to show the differences between the moon every night. Just like I've shown that mushroom forest went from on the left side of the moon centered or just a little bit above center to the top side quite a bit to the right of center. It went between 45 and 50 degrees. Now that is an unusual thing. That's abnormal, guys. Abnormal. Something strange about that. And I've had the astronomers today try to tell me I was crazy. Everything's normal. Ain't normal, guys. Ain't normal. I've seen the videos of the wobble. If you look at every one of those videos, just go to Wikipedia and say moon orbit. Do a search for moon orbit. You'll see these videos, and they wobble. Yeah, they wobble max 10 degrees. They don't wobble no 40, 45, 50 degrees. Something's wrong, and it is disturbing. Okay, guys, that's it. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday and week to come. In the meantime, I wish you and yours clear skies, guys.